Guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. First thing I wanted to do is just give a shout out and a big thank you to all my channel members. Thank you guys so much. I wanted to invite and welcome anybody who might not yet have had a chance to subscribe to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. It really helps me out. And just thank all of y'all for being here and taking time to watch my rambling videos. Today I've got a really cool knife in that was actually sent to me by T.Kell Knives. And at first I was a little hesitant because it's the larger knife that I normally carry. But guys, I researched it, and when it came in, I think y'all all saw the unboxing. It absolutely blew me away. The construction, the techniques, the manufacturing prowess, the way that the blade's ground, we'll get into it, but this knife has really blown me away. This is called the T.Kell Outerless Limits, Outer Limitless Accomplice. That's a mouthful. I can never get that right. It is an Eric Outer design, and it is the Eric Outer Limitless Accomplice. Sorry for the struggle there, guys, but that's just me and the verbal struggle bus that you've all come to know and hopefully love. But this knife is a full tang construction. It is ADCRV2, which Tim, who is the CEO, owner, starter, main guy at T.Kell Knives, has done tons of research. He's a veteran. If you go to the website, which I'll link in the description, you can read not only about his proprietary heat treat process, not only about why he uses ADCRV, not only why he designs the knives he designs, but a history of how he got into it. I'm hoping he and Suzanne, his better half, I think have an earlier schedule than we do for Friday Night Flicks, but he's definitely got an open invite. I think you guys would be fascinated to just see what he's doing and how he's doing it. I know I'm stoked, and this won't be the last T.Kell knife that I pick up. I'm just smitten with them. Again, I'm more of a, as you guys know, an urban EDC guy. That is, I carry bigger knives, but I'm not out banging through stuff, right? But it's nice to have a knife that you could bang through stuff with if you needed to, because this is one of their medium-sized knives. But to know that you could bang through something, like stick it through a car door if you needed to, or absolutely feather stick or prep firewood for a campfire, or open boxes, use it for your detail cuts, skin an animal, do whatever you have to do. I meant game. I don't know how that comes across. I don't mean skin an animal, but do game prep, you know what I'm saying, and cut anything you need to cut. Because these knives are not only heat treated and designed to cut, they've got a special plating type treatment on them, and you'll need to read more about the website to kind of know about this, but it's a nickel boron treatment. It's like a T1C type of plating. If I'm not mistaken, it's the same type of uh, plating that they use on bolt assemblies in pew-pews. So it's very resistant to abrasions, to wear. And if you can see this blade, which we'll look at it closer because I do want to show you more about the grind, but it really withstands a lot of abuse and doesn't show it. I think it's more than just a stone wash. Let's put it that way. And this edge, it says on the website that they're heat treated at right around 60 HRC. This ADCRV is. I can tell you that I have banged it in trees outside. I have prepped some different sticks and I've kind of chopped them up. I've chopped a bunch of, I've got these little, not bushes, they're more like weeds, but they've got a little bit of bark on them. I went out and hacked those things down, and this thing still has what I consider a very slicey edge. And if you look at just when you put the small to see how much grab it's still got, I don't know if you guys can see that. But this knife has amazing bite. I've not put it on a strop. I have not put it on a stone. I've just been using it, and I've been using it now for about 10 days. I was a little concerned when I was talking to Suzanne about it because I thought it might be a little larger than my normal EDC. And this came with a really nice clip that is, I'm not going to call it a mole clip, but it's an adjustable clip that allows you to carry this thing on your belt either horizontally or vertically. What I did is I put on one of my short ulti clips and I keep it in my back pocket. So right now I've got my Scout 2.5, but I could easily snap in the Outer Limitless Accomplice. It doesn't feel that heavy. It doesn't get into my side. It really feels and has surprisingly, from an EDC carry, felt as light and as nimble as a lot of my smaller knives. However, it's nowhere near, or there's nothing built about this that's a smaller knife. It came with the Kydex sheath before I put the Ulti clip on it, and I would walk back and get the actual apparatus that it came with. But there are other choices you can get at T.Kell Knives. Again, I'll put the website in the description so you guys can go check it out. This Kydex sheath is done amazingly well. You've got all your mounting configurations over here on the left side, which usually is a problem for me if I don't always have them on the right side, because the ulti clip, sometimes it's hard to push off, and you guys know I like an ulti clip. This sheath totally remedies that, and I'll show you in just a second. And then it's pinned over here on the right side, which makes it the retention tight, and it makes it much narrower, right? Because you don't have that extra material. But if you look at the way this pop out is done, you've got these little jimps. So I can, with just my hand, with this in my back pocket, reach behind my ulti clip, get those little jimps, and I can easily deploy the knife, leave this securely mounted in the back of my pocket, and I've now got a full-sized EDC knife that is just a beast. I mean, that's all I can say. It's an absolute beast. I know these handle holders are, or these handle bolts are larger than a T10. They're an Allen wrench, and I have not tried to size them up to see if that will come off. But if you can look in there, they're very nice barrels that come into that fitting there. So I'm assuming you can get, I know when you look at the website, they have different pattern handles because a lot of what they do is tactical, self-defense. They've got a lot of really cool knives that integrate that karambit type ring. Just not something that's really in my wheelhouse, but there's some really cool knives, cool patterns, cool shapes that are really impressive. There's several that I think are super cool that I've been looking at. And this is one of them. This knife, I would not have originally thought it would have been a knife that I would have carried every day. And I would have also had my primary carry in my right pocket, my slip joint in my left pocket. This is a fantastic EDC knife. And if something were to be apocalyptic and I'd be stuck out with this knife and the other two knives I'd have in my pocket, I would be very thankful of that. So another thing about T.Kell Knives is everything is made by Tim or from someone he sources, some of his strategic partners locally. Every single bit of the knife is manufactured in the USA. It's a USA made knife. It's a USA company, and it's a veteran. Thank you, Tim, for everything you've done, for your service, and just for being an outstanding individual and human being. Um, what I found amazing when it first came out of the box, and it took me by surprise, is the stair step milling in this grind. I don't know, it's hard for me to get it to show up because I don't have a viewfinder. I do all this on my iPhone, as you guys know. I kind of blow and go. I'm moving this in different angles so you can see, hopefully, either up here on this swedge or down here on this grind. This is done with the CNC machine, and it's those little horizontal lines, very similar to what you see at American Blade Works or you see in a Grimsmo Norseman. I forget what that CNC grinding is called, but it basically is just taking off material and just a little bit larger than microscopic passes as it goes down and develops this grind and this swedge that again are just, to me, they've got it's a very piercing tip. It's a workman's tip. I mean, you could do a lot with this tip that we know we shouldn't do with our knives, but if you're out in the woods and you've got to open a can, this knife would do it. If I go to the 7-Eleven and somebody tries to take my Slurpee, this is a Slurpee saver. I mean, knowing I've got this in my back pocket is just a knife that I think is worthy of EDC consideration. And I can't wait to bring you guys some of the smaller knives, like a Piranha. If you're looking on the website, that's a super cool knife. There's a Combatant that this is, I think, 3 3/4 inch blade, and we'll do some measurements in a second. But they've got some more EDC size knives. And when you go to the website, they've got a super cool feature where you can go browse all the knives, or you can search by EDC, which I did. And I think it pulls up 6 different models that I kind of focused in on. And then I went and looked at all the knives and found some that weren't listed in the EDC slot that were every bit EDC knives. But just a really impressive specimen. I mean, this knife punches above its weight. I want to do some size comparisons. I do have some bad news. The Javon promotional tape measure bit the dust. So we're back to using our brother Ben Peters' NAFCO titanium ruler that I can't read because my eyes are bad, but hopefully you guys will bear with me. But first thing I wanted to do is put this up against a couple of folding knives that we might have seen in our collection that we might be familiar with their size, starting with the Cold Steel 4MAX. And you'll see that the Cold Steel 4MAX is much bigger than the Outer Limitless Accomplice, and the Civivi Baby Banter, which to nobody's surprise is much smaller than the T.Kell Outer Limitless Accomplice. Let's look at it next to a Benchmade Bug Out and a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So guys, it's just a little bit shorter than that PM2 and probably about a 1/2 inch larger than that Bug Out. And then I grabbed a couple of fixed blades that you guys were probably going to be familiar with their size. One of which is the SE3, which is right about the exact same size or very close to our Outer Limitless Accomplice. And then, hopefully, a little leather on that. Our Bradford Guardian 3, which is about an inch shorter, right? But hopefully that gives you some, perspective on the size of this knife. And again, I've got the swell handles on this particular Essie, but the Essie, we'll get some true dimensions, has a much thicker profile, that is in handle and overall, where the T.Kell has a thinner, very comfortable handle, but it has much thicker blade stock. So that's something to consider. And I can see those lines. I hope you guys can see those. I hope it's translating to my camera. I doubt it is, but in either case, the grind on this knife is uber impressive. Everything about it's been impressive. So let's take I'm tempted to grab my shredded tape measure, even though it's not going to look good, to tell you that this knife is right under 8 1/4 inches. So we'll call it right over 8 inches. How's that? And the handle is going to come in right around 4 1/4. The blade is going to come in at 4 inches. And our cutting area, see, I knew that was going to happen. Our cutting area, 3 3/4. So we've got 4-inch blade and 3 3/4 cutting area. In what I consider to be just a meaty, overbuilt, elegant, very concealable, tactical, and woodsy knife. I mean, it really does check a lot of the boxes that I look for in an EDC fixed blade. Now, one thing that I would like to see, and I'm sure I will see because as soon as they come in stock, I plan on grabbing one, are some of the smaller knives. When I say come in stock, when you read about the heat treat process, guys, it's a 10-day heat treat process on each one of these blanks as they work with them. We're talking, you know, a very impressive process. Let me grab the calipers real quickly and let's just see what type of blade stock we are working with here. So that's 0.165, and that handle comes in right over a half inch at 0.5515. I don't know if you guys can read that, but I can. I'm not good at seeing what you guys can see, or vice versa, showing what you guys can't see. Does that make sense? And then, since I was talking about how it carries, I'll give you a couple of ideas here. The knife is 6.5 ounces. In the sheath with the ultra clip in my back pocket, it's right at 8.35. Compared that to my SE3, you know, it's not even an ounce lighter. Compare that to my Guardian, much smaller knife. You know, and when we're talking about those type of weights, I'm not going to feel the difference in 8.3 and 7.3. Personally, I'm just not. So great knife, very packable, very carryable. I would imagine that it would even feel just as good on the belt. You know, I'm just very weird about the way I carry knives. You guys know that. It's either straps or I use ulti clips just because I'm a weirdo, right? But guys, that is the T.Kell Outerlimitless Accomplice. It's a Eric Outer design. Again, a knife like I've never seen before because I've never seen nickel boron coating on a blade before. Just personally, I haven't. The spine is very, very sharp. When I say sharp, not sharp as in cut your finger, but sharp enough to strike a ferro rod, I would think, with no problem. Um, and again, it just fills out the hand very, very well for me. I mean, the balance is great on it. The ergonomics are great on it. I love the texturing in the G10 handle. Um, I could go on and on, guys. That's just kind of my long-term overview review as I continue to pound this knife through different things. And maybe my channel evolves into where I'm actually outside chopping stuff up. Keep your fingers crossed and your breath held. That probably will never happen. But I do plan to bring this knife back and give more long-term, maybe adventure type stories about what it's been through, because it does, certain knives make you want to use them in the way that they were intended to be used. I've been hanging out at the 7-Eleven lately, but it's been all peaceful. With my Outer Limitless Accomplice, I've been going out in the woods. I've stabbed up a stump in my backyard quite a bit, and I've hacked a lot, done a lot of yard work with it, for lack of a better term. But guys, great knife. I'm going to leave the link to the website so you can check out this knife and a lot of their other knives. But most important thing is look out for that little fly, whatever that was. Look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for that guy or gal to your right. Look out for one another. Go forward with love in your heart. And as always, choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.